Aaron Rodgers is pissed off. The quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Now, I'm not sure if you saw this or heard it, maybe not. Aaron Rodgers delivered what many people have interpreted with their decoder ring to be a blind side shot at the Green Bay Packers front office. When did this happen? It happened during his weekly paid appearance on the Pat McAfee podcast. Rodgers gets paid some bucks to go on there every week, and usually we get something out of it. Now, Rodgers was in the middle of an answer, and he was a question about, they were talking about records, right? Setting records, and Rodgers set several records. And then he slipped in a haymaker to the football ops department of the Green Bay Packers. As Warner Wolf would say, let's go to the audio tape.
When it comes to records, I love them and milestones. Like, I do take pride in them. I think they're more things you look back on when you're done playing. I don't think I'm done by any stretch of the imagination, even though some people may have thought so in the off season.
Oh! So he's humming along, right? You know, records and milestones. I love them there. And he says, I don't think I'm done by any stretch of the imagination, even though some people may have thought so in the off season. All right, so let us discuss the question. Does what you just heard qualify as an Aaron Rodgers shot, a slap, a backhanded slap at the Packers? Absolutely. Listen, it's not like a felony, but does a wolf howl at the moon? Yes, it's a little side eye. So I've got Lowe's handbook and clam chowder, and we will combine all of these things together, and we will make chicken strips and fries from Raising Cane's. All right, now to lead off with, Aaron Rodgers slipped in as you heard there. We didn't play the whole thing; we played just a small clip of it, but that was in the middle of an answer, and he kept going after that. There was an awkward pause. He was asked a softball line of questions, right, talking about records. So, I mean, boring, fanboy radio, boring. So Rodgers treated that like a free play. You know, when the defensive player jumps off sides and you know you're going to pick up 5 yards, so you just chuck the ball down the field. And it was like a 70-yard bomb into the end zone. But make no mistake, all right, do not misconstrue that while that might have seemed benign and harmless and all that, that was a direct shot at the third-year Green Bay Packer GM, Mike Gutekunst. That was a shot at him. Now, it was subtle.
Who?
Right? It was as subtle as going down to Lowe's, and you go to Lowe's, you see Dick and Dayton, not right now because he's on quarantine. You go down to Lowe's, and you take a 2x4, and you start whacking someone across the forehead. That's as subtle. Like, McAfee was taken aback, as you heard there, when Rodgers said this, and he couldn't bite his tongue. But, you know, that's the guy he's got bad blood with is Gutekunst, the GM of the Packers. You got to be careful how you say that name, because if you say it incorrectly, it's a word you're not allowed to say.
Never heard of him.
Well, you don't know who the great Mike Gutekunst is? Bad job by you.
Relax.
So anyway, he was the one calling the shots. He has called the shots the last couple of years. Back in April, we all know the story. We were all watching the virtual NFL draft when Green Bay trade on up now, and they got quarterback Jordan Love. Feeling the love, and Love has really developed. Let me tell you, he's done a great job. Everyone talks about Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Burrow, but Jordan Love can now hold the clipboard. He can walk and chew gum at the same time. So that is an accomplishment for the Green Bay Packers rookie quarterback. It's all about baby steps. You got to learn to walk before you can run, right? You don't take a quarterback. I think this we can all agree on. You do not take a quarterback in the first round unless you have the intention of playing said quarterback and the quarterback you're playing now departing in the next year or two, right? I mean, that's just common sense. And so, why don't we have one of those celebrity fights? We just saw one. Nate Robinson ended up in a body bag. How about we have Mike Gutekunst, the GM of the Packers, versus Aaron Rodgers, like on the undercard of Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas, the rematch. How about that? All right, now furthermore, for Aaron Rodgers All right, Mr. Rodgers. This is the perfect bomb and run. Okay, now, why is it perfect? It's on page 46 of the Passive-Aggressive Handbook for Athletes. Page 46. Rodgers co-authored the book with LeBron James. You have to feel angry, resentful, and frustrated at all times. But you have to try to hide the emotion. You have to try to hide it. Act neutral, pleasant, or even cheerful. And you still have to find these indirect ways to show your true colors, like how you really feel. And so this is a nice, again, somewhat subtle insult buried in the middle of a rather generic answer about a cliche question regarding records. And so for Rodgers, it's perfection personified because he's also got plausible deniability. That's the key to the Passive-Aggressive Handbook. Because if asked specifically, hey, Aaron, people think that you took a shot at your general manager, Mike Gutekunst, then Rodgers will just deflect and say he was referencing the fans on social media or the media in general. All right, no skin off his back. All right, nothing to see here. Move on. All right, last thing. So on the field, the Packers have had a good season. I think that's common sense for everyone who can look at that and say that's accurate. But you got the micro and the macro when you talk about Green Bay. Green Bay in the short term, the micro, is 8-3. They have the number three seed in the NFC. And while we still have our doubts about the Pack, they've got a seat at the grown-ups table in a wide open conference. Now, I'm not optimistic about any of these teams in the NFC because I see all the moles and all the warts. Now, one of them is going to win a conference championship. Keep in mind, the NFC is the conference that gave us Jimmy Garoppolo and Jared Goff in the Super Bowl the last couple of years. So someone's going to make it who's got a lot of issues, right? Got a lot of issues, but whoever wins the conference is going to be a sizable underdog when they get to the Super Bowl and eventually play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So that's the micro. Now, the macro, the long game, the macro, it still appears to me that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are heading to a fork in the road, and that fork is pointed towards divorce court. That's the palace intrigue here. Now, I will point out, and the variables have changed because at the draft, it's like, okay, the Packers are going to look to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. It looked like they were going to be the aggressor, and they were going to be the ones that wanted to move out of Mr. Rodgers' neighborhood. Now, it certainly looks, based on anecdotal evidence, that it's the other way around. It sounds now like Aaron Rodgers could be the one that asked for a trade this season, after the season, of course, and the trade deadline's passed and all that. But Rodgers is 37 years old. He appears to have reached the end of the road as far as the bull crap. He's upset, and he's doing this passive-aggressive thing. The Cheeseheads do not have an out in the contract until after next season. So Rodgers' contract is ironclad through the 2021 season. Rodgers, if he wants, can hand pick like picking fruit off a tree, the team of his choice. So why don't we play the Aaron Rodgers speculation game? How about Aaron Rodgers eating clam chowder with Bill Belichick? The Patriots are going to move on from Cam Newton. He's been lousy this year. They're going to bring in another stopgap quarterback. Well, Aaron Rodgers at 37 is not the long-term answer. You figure maybe he plays a few more years. But the thing, all these guys are going to play till they're 45 seems unrealistic. People said the same thing about Peyton Manning. He got to a certain age, and then he was Dunskies. All of a sudden, he couldn't get it done. He had those lollipop throws and all that. So if not the Packers, and Rodgers is going to pick where he wants to go. How about some nice sourdough bread? And he can go to the 49ers, the team he wanted to play for. He's a Northern California guy. But remember, he's not really close with his family. He doesn't really get along with his family. So I don't think that makes a lot of sense to have sourdough bread with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. How about a shock the world situation? Go down to Dallas and have some Tex-Mex with Jerry Jones and his old coach, Mike McCarthy, who supposedly he wants to choke. Right? That's a possibility. Or you can dine al fresco on bacon-wrapped hot dogs in L.A. with the Chargers. And that doesn't make sense either, though, because they now have their forever quarterback. So that was an option before they did that. The Rams, with the Rams, could they possibly get rid of Jared Goff? The contract Jared Goff has is pretty locked in. Guessing the Green Bay Packers wouldn't want Jared Goff. I know Rodgers had a house, last I heard, in Malibu in the offseason. So the possibilities are endless, is what I'm trying to tell you. The possibilities are endless when you play the Aaron Rodgers speculation game.